Hello traders, it's Samurai Trader here. Welcome to our trading session. I'm just firing off a couple of quick trades. It is close to 7 p.m. here. I just want to quickly jump and show you this one here. Where are we? So I'm short on a T10. We've actually had two signals here. We can see our falling stoke. I'm going for 16 ticks on this particular trade on 10 contracts. Now this has moved fairly quickly. I had a stop there of 650. Let me bring my stop down. Now ideally here in this case, normally I'd have a stop 2 ticks above this little swing high. Now I also have a short over off a double top on the Euro STOXX 50. One more tick down.
Order filled.
Here we go. And
order filled.
Oops, and that was my order filled, and that was the order just filled on the Euro STOXX 50, which I'll pull down and show you. So we can see the Euro STOXX 50 here, traders. I jumped in. This is a lovely T7 we had here. I shorted off the T7. Look at my my platinum. Look at that fall away below the zero line. Perfect double top. So now let me just put this on hold and we'll go back to the NQ. I want to show you a few things on the NQ chart. Here we go. So in this particular case, we can see here we had a T10. Both the 8 EMA had rolled over the zero lag. You see my entry there. So that was 800 gross on that particular trade. Now let's perhaps just have a review of a couple of other trade setups we had. We had a perfect T89. Now if you notice, this is, by the way, the 55 tick. So we had a beautiful T89 here. Once again, it's dinner time here for me in Australia, so I've just come upstairs and just jumped on these two trades. And on the Euro STOXX 50, by the way, I got 10 contracts short at 10 for 6 ticks. So that was it's a very nice start to the evening. Let me just show you a couple of other trades here that you could have taken. You had a lovely wick trend T2 here, another T89, another T89. Now if you had have taken this trade here, you had technically a T10 setting up here. This is a few hours ago, and you may notice here the 89 is going sideways, so is the 200. My 34 is going up, and even though you should have been in about here, but of course look at the candle wasn't supporting the trade direction. That's one thing that you really want to look for, is the candle supporting the trade direction. Now let me now just remove for you, let's just go to a large pointer here. I'm just going to remove the channel. I leave the channel on for my students, by the way. The reason I leave the channel on, usually it just helps me see the T89s a lot easier, because when we get that angulation, I'm just used to it visually. Now if you're new, you can see by removing the channel off the chart, it just makes it a little clearer. Now let me just show you a little trick with the 8 EMA, which is the blue line. When you get a price of close on or above, you want to go long. Below, you want to short, providing other conditions are met. But it's a great little qualifier. So once again, we had a T2, T89, T89, another T89. Here you had just a classic T1 trade here. This was a T10. You can see down here. Here we had a lovely T89. You took a little bit of heat, it went up. This is typical. Once again, your stop would have been 2 ticks down below. You had a T10, and I just marked this up. That would have been on here. That was another T10 if you missed that one, a T10. Then you had a T2, but it's rolled over. Now just be very cautious, and this is a warning overall. Be very cautious on taking trades against good T89s. Okay, now you may notice I jumped out fairly early on 16 ticks. I'm going to kick myself here because I had just written down on my trading plan was was really, and I should just mention this, if you're trading the 55 or 133 NQ, typically you should be targeting, and you should easily obtain, generally speaking, 21 ticks. Now 21 ticks traders, that's $105, less your brokerage, that's $100. And if you look at my trading plan, $100 a contract, you make a lot of money, you build a lot of wealth. My personal target is 400 plus per contract. So I only need, well, the way I do my trading is I'm a scalper, so I'm in and out, like as I mentioned, that was 16 ticks. However, a personal objective I'm working on is to improve that. That is, I want to be targeting 21 ticks plus, 4 trades and I'm finished. Usually I hit my target, as most of you are aware, within 2 hours anyway. Now a good logical spot should have been for my target, and I'm going to admit a little mistake I had here. We should have been down just above this pivot here, because what you see, of course, is that price generally trades pivot to pivot, and you see that virtually in every trading day. Now I just want to check something else here, traders. Okay, so you can see here we went up, we didn't hit the pivot here in this case. It's not a perfect science, it's not a perfect setup, but you can see we've gone up close to the pivot. Here we come down, but bottom line is 800. Once again, I only need 5 or 6 of these trades and I've hit my target already. That was a very nice trade we just hit, and I'll just show you that once more, just a moment, because I want to show you something else on that chart. One thing I do want to say here, of course, is that all these setups work on whether you're trading Forex, whether you're trading stocks. It doesn't matter what you're trading. They're the universal patterns. These patterns are mainly driven by human behavior, and they're just reliable, and that's the thing. Really, we're pattern hunters. Now the reason I like to say that become a sniper, one shot one kill, is really to really focus in and really master a trade setup. And where I've had traders say to me, well, look, you seem to take a lot of counter trend trades, but I'm very good at them. I, by the way, counsel against new traders trading counter trends until you're profitable trading the standard run-of-the-mill trend trades. Okay, now this is an affirmation I have, and I know some of what I'm saying to you traders, you hear me talk about every night, but it's just so important, because repetition is the mother of skill. It's how we learn. So as a day trader, I'm patient, I'm a sniper, one kill one shot, a rules-based pattern trader. Okay, so I use a number of different trade setups. We'll come back to my little ad in a moment, but let's go back. There's some things I want to show you. Now look at this beautiful little double bottom. Look at this double top, which is what got me in, quite frankly. As I mentioned, I was downstairs, so I didn't see this T89 that we had set up here. So I was actually downstairs, but when I came up, of course, what did I see here? I saw this perfect, just this beautiful double top, which was here, and that's when I jumped in straight away. But when I'm looking at trades, I'll look at my indicators. Now my indicators are tools. They're what, as we know, a casino has a typical house edge of what, around 5%. My indicators are my tools. They give me a massive house edge. That's what gives us the house edge when we trade, is our indicators. And look at this beautiful drop away I had on the platinum here. Fantastic. So you can see we had some pivot bounces here, double bottoms, pivot bounce. When the market opened, so the market opens in Europe at 8 a.m. we can see here we had a beautiful pivot bounce up here, then to the short side. Now the reason I didn't mark that one up is usually if I'm trading of an evening, and this is where, if I have a European student, we'll be online together and I'll advise them against taking these. This one here, it's really hard to say what it was going to do. Pivot bounce is a lot easier, because look down the bottom here, I had a very clear-cut T2 as well. These are very clear-cut. So here you've just got a breakaway. Now this, by the way, traders, and you might have chosen to wait till over here, was a T25. You had a classic in your entry, wouldn't have been in till over here. You had a classic T1 or a T2 down here, another T2. An area to be cautious of just here Why is that? The reason we want to be cautious is we're coming off a T89. T89s of course traditionally a very high accurate trade. They typically are a change in trend, as we generally see. Now we can see the market falling away, and let me just do something here, traders. Drats. Okay, look at it fall away, go down of a pivot. Traders, one of the things I say is and you hear me talk about this regularly, is that I'm launching a trade room in 4 to 6 weeks where we'll be trading live, and I've had a huge uh, amount of interest globally for this, so I'll be launching it. And I'm actually hiring a couple of moderators to work with me, because what's more important for me, I've got to admit this, is I'm a trader first of all, and it's great money. So running a trading room isn't huge money in it, so I'm going to be trading as well. But the point is, we make mistakes when we're talking to people, when we're watching TV while we're trading, etc. And I've got before me, and as most of you have seen photos, and actually I'll pull it up just a moment. Let me go and get this. I want to show you this. So when I'm trading, this is all I have in front of me. I've got a number of folders there with all my trading rules in them, and patterns and whatever, just as a reminder. Once again, they're reminding me of things I already know, because there are a number of things. So they're just like a pilot, I'm reviewing my checklist. Problem is when I'm moderating and trade at the same time. Now, by the way, on the right here I've got my trading journal, and I talk a lot about this. You should be diarizing. When you make a mistake, you put it down. If you stuff up and take an impulse trade, you write it down. Anything good you think of, you write it down. And so you keep notes. It allows you to review. And what you do, excuse me, what you do then of course is you highlight them. I've got highlighters, I've got different highlighters, but I keep my desk very clear of everything else, because when I am trading correctly without talking, I like to be really focused, and that's what this is about. And by the way, when we launched the room, the live trading room is very much about calling live trades but educating you at the same time. And that's really important, that you gain an education. And by the way I'm launching the room, I want you to be with me in 5 years time trading in the room, is that we can all really contribute and to really grow from trading together. Because by the way, I learn something every day, and when I'm trading and training, I have traders really challenge my thinking. Hey, what about this? Or what do you think of this? Now, a couple of things I wanted to point out here was that with the blue 8 EMA there, if you don't have the zero leg, you can see how effective the EMA is. Just wait for a close over the EMA. Okay, that sort of qualifies it. And what you really want to look for is, see this T10 we've got here. Because the 8 EMA was not angling, you may have chosen to wait for that. Now of course your signal, the way my T1 plots, was not until this candle here, but your 8 EMA is really good for signaling. Now let me go and put in the channel, because I want to show you something here which is really important. Just remember, with the channel, the further you move out of a channel, the more likely you're going to be, and this is also true on the 34 EMA, but remember, the further you move away from your moving averages, the more likely you are that you have a reversion to the mean. It goes back again. By the way, what we've got setting up here is a nice little pivot bounce right now. We can see this pivot bounce, and this also, by the way, traders, is and this is what I mean about talking while you're trading. This is a T89, and we should be in this trade right now, unless you're waiting for your zero lag to confirm. Now we can see up here I've only got 11 more transactions to form this tick candle, and it's about to close this candle. And so let me just mark this up here. Now what may very well happen here is it goes up, it's a pivot bounce, it goes up here, and we're looking now for a rollover. So we really should have been in this trade a little earlier. let me just and what I'd normally be doing also, but of course I'm talking, is I'll be looking at my anchor charts as well and just seeing what my anchor chart is telling me. Now an anchor chart I use is 3 times higher than this time frame, but let me say it's not compulsory, because we are scalpers, short-term traders, day traders. You can use an anchor chart, but if you find it consuming, it's not the end of the world, or confusing I should say, because for newer traders and even experienced traders, when you're trying to read what an anchor chart is doing, sometimes you can lose sight of your own chart as well. So if you find it too confusing, don't worry about it. Likewise, traders, if you're new to trading, looking at my charts for the first time, uh, after you purchase the fast track program, go through the videos a number of times, you'll pick this up. It ain't rocket science, right? It's just a matter of spending time. Remember when you first learned to drive a stick shift, a manual? It's confusing, okay? Well, once again, but in 30 days you've picked it up. Likewise with learning how to trade, just give it time and you'll pick this up fairly quickly. And what you can do also is remove a lot of the stuff that we've got on the chart here. You don't need to have everything I've got displayed here. So we can see here, we're actually, if I had have taken this trade and not been talking, we're in the money here at the moment. Let me just go and pull something else up I want to show you. Whoops, and one thing I didn't do, which I've got to do, my compliance people are on my back about this. I must always, attorneys, I've always got to put up the risk disclaimer. So once again, make sure, please traders, that you understand the risk when it comes to trading. So just remember that these setups work on all time frames and all markets. So let me go back to what I wanted to show you. Now what we're looking at here is last night's action on the NQ55 tick. So you can see here, once again, my main trading session is New York. This was the European session, so I jumped in here on a this was only 16 ticks, a quick scalp here down to the moving averages here, and you just see these setups every day, day in, day out. Nice little double top T89. This was a T89, that was a T89. They just fire off left, right and center, and you really want to keep an eye on these double tops and double bottoms. They just really, when you see them with the trend, they're just a fantastic trade to take. So where are we here? This is what I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you a losing trade. Okay, yes, I have losers, not too often fortunately, but I do have losers, and this was a case where I made a mistake because I was not focused. So I took this as a T10, and this is what I want to show you. Notice the 8 EMA is pointing up, and notice how the 0 lag is pointing up, and that's okay. And this is what can happen. Notice how it's set. My long-term stock is falling. I have a rollover. The candle confirms, but there's some other reasons why I shouldn't have taken this trade. Look at my 89, my 200 and my 34. They were going sideways. Okay, the other thing I was doing, I was talking on the phone while I was playing with this trade, and I didn't adjust my stop. Now it's only a 12 tick loss I had here, but it should have only been 10. Yes, I know 2 ticks doesn't sound much, but it makes a difference. And the comment I had here that I wanted to show you was, oops, let me just show you here. Note the 8 EMA, the 0 lag, the 34.89 and 200 are all sideways. I should not have been in that trade, and this gets back to something that I talk about regularly, is the lack of focus. And trading really is not difficult as long as you remain focused. And here, that particular trade cost me I think it was $600 in that particular trade. Now it should have been a beauty. Now sorry, I shouldn't have even been in that trade. I should have said, sorry, I shouldn't have been in there, because everything was against me. And that's why I just wanted to show you this, that really take your time. Note the 8 EMA as a directional indicator. Where is the 8 going? It's going up. And notice how I bounce off the MAs as well. So I really wanted you to see that as an example. Now this is a 55. Let's now go back, and as I mentioned here, your T89 is it well and truly in the money. Okay, now what made this such a great trade is not only is it T89, but it's a pivot bounce as well. Okay, so we're bounced off a pivot. I have on this particular chart the US hour pivots, and so that's delivering well. Notice my long-term STOXX is now starting to rise. I expect this well, I expect it to turn into a T10. We'll see. Your 3, what's that trade? Is that 3? It's a, sorry, I'm just not thinking. It's been a long day. It's 12 ticks or something so far in this particular trade. So I would be expecting this to turn into a T10 now, so that's what I'd be waiting for. However, let me just remind you, because this technically is a counter trend trade, we really want to go for a 2-to-1 risk reward. That is, I really want to see for every dollar I risk at least a 2-to-1 return. I want to see $2 back. Where would have my stop gone? 2 ticks below this little swing low. This particular trade, 2 ticks above. If you're in this one, 2 ticks above. If you're in this one, 2 ticks above. Here, down here. On this one, down here. This one, down here. This one, up here. So now we're getting a little rollover. Now this may very well, because we can see here our 34 is down in a downtrend. This may very well continue in a downtrend. Who knows? It's trading. It's a game of probabilities. But once you get up around 14 ticks, you want to bring your stop right up to really around break even +1. Now I know one of the frustrating things can be, of course, when you bring your stops up, that you get stopped out and the market continues. That is the very reason why, with traders, I like to scalp. I like targeting my 10, 11 to 14, 16 ticks, and I'll do 7 or 8 of those trades. I'm in and out, in and out. So traders, this has gone a little longer, but I just wanted to show you a couple of quick trades for the European session. For my colleagues over in New York, well, it's 4 a.m. over their time. Now we're just getting here a little T2. Yeah, this is technically a T2 setting up here with a T1. Okay, so traders, at times a whole lot more. I covered my top 12 strategies, and by the way, out of the 12, there's 4 or 5 that are absolute core to my trading. So there are 4 trades that are absolute core to my trading. Now my daily target, as I mentioned earlier, is 400 a day per contract, and over a 3 to 4 hour period you generally will romp that in if you do it correctly and stick with the trend and your good CT trade, your good T89s, etc. But one thing I want to say on this, just while I think of it too, is traders, seriously, it's very difficult to spend any more than 2 to 3 hours in front of the screen actively day trading. It really is. And when I deal with day traders, and by the way, 75-80% of my traders that I deal with are experienced traders already, or either been in the business for years or been giving it a go and they've really not making it. So a very high percentage are experienced. And one of the things I always ask them if I'm coaching them, how much time are you spending in front of your screens, is that really you can't spend any more than an hour without taking a 5-10 minute get up, walk around, etc. And any more than 3 or 4 hours a day, seriously, well, for me personally, it does my head in. I just can't do it. Psychologically, it really wears me out because I want to be focused. So just be very cautious how much time, but I cover all of this and a whole lot more in my course. So traders, please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't, and I hope you picked up a few ideas, and if you haven't already, drop me an email and I'll send you some information about the fast track program. Let's get you profitable.